When the dark beauty Hecuba, wife of King Priam, was pregnant, she had a terrifying dream, that she gave birth to a fireband, and she woke up screaming that the city of Troy is burning to the ground. Her husband, alarmed by this, consulted fortune teller Ascaius, and this fortune teller told him that this newborn son of his would one day cause the destruction of his city. According to this, King Priam made this difficult decision and put his newborn son to death. He gave his son to chief herdsman Agelaus, and this guy take the child and put it on Mount Ida to die from exposure. But to his surprise, when he returned after 5 days, the child was still alive. So Agelaus, touched by this, take the child and give it to the herdsmen who lived and shepherds who lived on Mount Ida, and these shepherds brought up Paris. The child grew up to be known for his beauty, charm, and wit. At about the same time, the wedding of Peleus and Thetis, the hero and sea goddess, was celebrated on Mount Pelion. All the gods and goddesses were invited, with the noted exception of Ares, the goddess of strife, who was hideous and disagreeable. But, angered with not being invited, she came anyway, and she threw an apple to the crowd. Between three of the most powerful goddesses, Hera, Athene, and Aphrodite, Zeus took an apple and read the description: for the fairest, for the most beautiful of the goddesses. But being wise enough, Zeus did not this decision himself. He decided that the beautiful Paris would be the one to judge. So first, he sent Hermes to inquire whether Paris would agree to be the judge. He agreed, so the time was set for the judgment of Paris to take place. So when the time came, the Paris set himself comfortably on Mount Ida with a beating heart, waiting for the three goddesses to appear. And once at a time, the huge light appeared covering the entire mountain. First, Paris was blinded, but then the goddesses covered their light into the clouds so he could see them. And first, the queen of gods, Hera, approached him, showing her beauty and glory. And she promised him that if he awarded her the apple, she would give him wealth and power. She would rule the greatest kingdom on earth. So Paris felt the excitement and his ambition rose up. Then it was time for grey-eyed Athene. She came near, bended so he can take a sight into her mysterious, beautiful eyes. And she promised him that she will give them the victory in all battles with glory and with wisdom. So he could have the three most precious virtues man could have. And once again, his excitement rose and he yearned for the gift. But then it was the turn for the Aphrodite. And Aphrodite put her hair on her face to cover her blush on her face. Then she untied her robe a little so Paris can take sight on her perfectly formed breast, white as alabaster. And she said, "Paris," and her voice seemed to singing in his head. "If you give me the apple, I will grant you the greatest gift of all, the gift of love. You will possess the most beautiful woman on earth, and with her you will experience the greatest delights of lovemaking." Overpowered by her words and intoxicated with her smell and her beauty, Paris handed her an apple without even considering any other decisions. And so it happened. Paris granted the apple of discord to Aphrodite, and as the prophecy foretold, two other goddesses became his vicious enemies. And true to her words, Aphrodite kept her promise, and so that the most beautiful woman, Helen of Troy, fell in love with Paris. But to enjoy her, Paris had to steal her from her powerful husband Menelaus, king of Sparta. And by doing so, it began the terrible 10-year war between the Trojans and the Greeks. And during this war, many of the great heroes, including Paris himself, lost their lives. As the story continues, you may know from the movie, but myths are great because they teach us something. They always have a lesson to be learned. And this myth also have things to be learned. Like, first of all, when you have to choose between three women, it's a story without happy end. Because the one would be happy, but the two others would hate you to end of their life, which is especially a problem when they're immortal goddesses. Second of all, if you're throwing a party, invite everyone you should invite, even troublemakers and people you don't like your mother-in-law. And third, when you are stealing someone's girlfriend, make sure that he's not a friend of Brad Pitt. Because for once, Brad Pitt is invincible, and second, he has air support even when action takes place in 10,000 BC. So you learned your lesson, the prophecy warned you, now you can be smart, you will make a wise decision. But then, you see her. And although the prophecy foretold you that if you go for it, your country will be burned to the ground, you and your family and your countrymen killed, you read all the myths, you know how it all ends. The only thing you can think of is how soft is her skin. And how amazing it would be to just jump under the shower with her. And no matter what, you're just gonna go for it.